Here we are again, everyone. We got another Topgun Chen of probably the most famous Japanese World War II airplane, fighter airplane, that is. And that is the A6M Zero. So here's the packaging. It's a cardboard box with its own graphics, and these are some collections and models that were designed by this person. And yeah, person keeps busy for sure. It paid for an extra pilot to be painted. It doesn't actually come with a pilot. Kind of wish they did, but they're model kits essentially. You can buy them raw plastic and save a lot of money if you want to take the time to paint them up yourself. But I would rather, just pay to have it done better than I can paint it. I mean, I suppose I could paint it like that, but it would take so long and it would be frustrating for me. I really don't get too much satisfaction out of painting things. Ooh, that window looks a little delicate. It's actually an open frame. And I might as well get this pilot out of the way as well. So the foam is nice, computer kind of foam. Got the thing to me safely. Alright, so I guess we'll just take a look at this pilot here. We got a decaled face. And look how well painted it is. First, the head is magnetic if you haven't picked up on that, so you can pose it as you see fit. But the goggles literally have glossy black lenses, but then the rest of it's all matte finish. Some sort of, gray and then brown for the whatever cap or these things are called. And then the jacket is like brown leather, but it's got a life vest and some harness action in gray. And then the shoes are like a brown, lighter brown. The pants are even a different color than the jacket. So it's really well done. I mean, it's really small. It's only like 25 it's like an inch. It's 25 millimeters in height. Alright, I'm not going to talk about this plane because I already spoke about it when I did the Hasegawa egg plane. Or I believe I did. Here's an image here. I guess they didn't really paint these for durability. They're just trying to win the war, of course. So look how shortened this thing is. It's pretty funny, right? I think it's funny. I really enjoy deformed things. If you're new to my channel, if you look up the quantity of videos I do, but the majority of them are deformed. And the reason why is I don't really expect perfection of things that aren't real. If I bought a realistic model of this Zero, I would be critiquing it, to basically look like those photographs. But it's just a lot more refreshing just to not have to go into that mindset. Since this is deformed, I don't really care if something's not right. So first thing I'm picking up is how easy this propeller is to spin. And then I think these red stripes are decals on the silver painted blades. Some other decals, I don't know if those are bolting on decals or something, not sure. And then it's painted this dark green, and you can see a little bit of the 3D print lines here. So it was printed in this orient, those layers. Some rounded bits there. Okay, so, and then we have this engine detail behind it. It looks like you can see the cylinders there, and it's pretty far in. I mean, that toothpick goes pretty far, right? And some sort of intake here, and of course it's black already. So then we have these two exhausts, and they're painted like a gunmetal color, and they do have a little recess to look like tubes. And these little flared out panels. I think there's supposed to be more exhaust up there, but I don't really see them in the photograph. I only see the exhaust coming out of these two, and they're creating a lot of smoke in that last photograph I pulled up. Alright, so yeah, nicely painted. And look at all these little panel details. Little recessed rivet marks, this panel gap, all these panel lines. We have this decal that's not 100% recessed into the groove, but it was at least recessed into the majority. Yeah, very neat. Going out to the wings here, look at all these panel details. No step marks. Not sure what that is. Yeah, this is all nicely done, nicely painted, nicely detailed. We have the two machine guns up here. Very nice. They're tubes. You can actually see how round they are. And I actually think that they are probably metal tubes because they're very thin. So I think those are probably painted metal tubes of some sort. Not sure why those two dots would be there, but they are. More rivet marks look nice. The cockpit is nicely done. I think this frame is separate from the clear bits, and so that's why it's perfect separation. And for 3D printed windows, it's quite good. I mean, you can see into the cockpits pretty well, so you gotta remember, 3D printed is printed layers, so there should be a bunch of layer lines here, but I'm not sure how this person goes about doing it. If this person polishes the windows, or put some sort of thick clear coat to fill in the gaps. Anyways, we'll continue on. Yeah, alright, so now I can see some print lines. And then, I guess this is number 102. And now you can see the bottom, how it's masked off to have this light gray or off-white of some sort. Japanese gray, maybe? And then these red dots are outlined. And you can see there's a green marker on this side and a red marker painted on that side. I like how these are actually painted blue in here, and then you can have some mechanical details printed in there. And so we have these peg holes, and I think those are magnets right there, so the landing gear will be magnetic. There's actually two mounting holes, it looks like. Probably one to clear a fuel tank or a bomb that's going to go on those two magnets. And then, what the heck is that? It's a decal, I think. No, it's not. It's a physical thing. Looks like it's gunmetal. Maybe it's like a hook to grab the arrestor cable on an aircraft carrier. I'm just guessing. That looks like a magnet, and I think maybe the rear wheel is going to go in there. Alright, we do have like what looks like a push pin, or some sort of steel needle for, I don't know, airspeed sensor maybe? And what is this? That's a physical hole. I don't know if this plane has guns in the wings, but I'm looking at the photograph. It does seem to have a hole here. I don't know if it's a headlight or something back in there, but whatever, it's in the photograph, so. And then a little scoop here. It's really foreshortened, and some air, I guess, must ram up into that engine. Alright, this thing's so small, it's awesome. I really like small models because I can collect more of them. This is 10 centimeters, or around 4 inches in wingspan. And I gotta say, it's painted like perfectly. There's a bunch of, sadly, kill marks for the position, and then some sort of text there. It's not, I don't think it's legible, but no, it is 99, some Japanese kanji letters there. And now you can see there's a paint wash in these panel gaps, which is a lot of extra work. Right? I'm too lazy to paint wash my airplane models. I'm just lazy. I should call this the small lazy model collector. Alright, let's take a look at this interior here. We gotta get the pilot in there. Seems to be a magnetic thing as usual. So 2 magnets there, 2 magnets there, and yes, you can see the window is a separate piece from the frame, so great color separation. Can't get better. Whoa, this is crazy. I gotta zoom in. This is the most detailed interior that I've definitely seen from this designer, but this is the most detailed interior I have in my collection of models. I mean, I was expecting just like a flat panel with a decal on it, but I gotta get the pick out. So there's some sort of sighting mechanism here, and then you actually have the bodies of the machine guns running out there. That's crazy. I assume these tubes are actually running into these. And then you have these different layers. Like, what is this? This is actually a recess. Not sure what it is, but and if you look at the decals, they're not just all identical black circles. There's actually different shapes to them in many colors. So a lot of research went into this decal sheet. And then you have the foot pedals down there. You have 2 levers, 3 levers on this side, 1 lever on that side. The flight sticks got some silver. A whole bunch of tiny toggle switches. This lever, I don't know what that is. This, no clue what all this stuff is, but it's just so 3-dimensional. It's astounding. Yeah, so if I painted this myself, there's like at least five colors going on in this interior. And then the decals I could apply, but it's just very time consuming. And what is up with this seat? It looks like it's like a suspension seat or something. I mean, it is glued to that box, but for durability. I wonder if that thing raises when it's landing so the pilot can see over the front end of the nose. I'm not sure. If you're an airplane aficionado, please chime in on the comment and teach us all. I don't really research anything, I just like small models. That is impressive. Topgun Chen, outdoing yourself. Really cool. Alright, well I hate to cover up that seat with this pilot now, but I'm gonna have to. Let's see how well it fits. Yeah, okay. It's a little, obviously it's not like pegged in or anything, so I gotta get some putty. Alright, a little poster putty, because this stuff doesn't tear through paint. Never seems to harden. Just good stuff. Yeah, so if you push this person down and that thing didn't have the box under the seat, you just break the seat off. So it's smart that there is that seat isn't floating. And so yeah, you can you can see a little bit through that window. I like to pose them off to the side, but anyways. Okay, well that is pretty cool. And looking at this, so we have a window frame with no windows. I suppose it's because some people fly these without the canopy actually closed. Yeah, so that's magnetic as well. And so if you wanted to, yeah, it's just open canopy. These teeth, oh I see, you gotta squeeze it a little bit. That's really well designed as well. Huh, that's interesting. I think I prefer it the other way. It's nice that it came with that option, but there's teeth in the front. Yeah, there's like a tooth on the... I have to squeeze it a little bit. Or maybe this one just doesn't sit flush. I'm not sure. It is flush back here. Could have been warped a little bit after the 3D print process. That's quite common. Or... yeah, I'm gonna have to just accept that. Doesn't look so bad up here. Anyways, the window's clear enough to see that pilot and some of the interior details. It's really cool. Let me back out. Alright, so I guess this time I'll do landing mode first. Just guessing if that's the correct wheel. Actually, these are not symmetric, so I gotta look at the photographs. The chamfered up part faces forward, so that's supposed to go on like that. And then this one goes here, and it's magnetized. What's going on with this? Oh, alright. Separate magnet for something. Oh, I guess that's probably for when the hatches are closed, maybe? Oh, no, hold on. I need some time to figure that out. Look at that, even that little bit. So that's a nice detail. It's got a magnet in there. Very cool. And I don't think the rear wheel ever recedes into the body, so I think that just stays there forever. I'm wondering why it's even a separate piece then. Maybe it just should be glued in place or be part of the 3D print. And here we got this fuel tank here, drop tank. And that looks pretty good. Let's let that go for a revolution or two in front of the photographs. The panels are painted that same blue on the inside. There's some treads there on the tires. What do the wheels look like? Well, the real one, they're kind of plain. Well, you got the silver of the shock stanchion, just like in the photograph, so... Alright, looks pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, now I'm going to switch over to flight mode. Alright, so I'll take that out. I'm going to take these things out. This out. The rear will stay. And now, I guess you just got to match the shape. Alright, so that was easy enough with the magnet. And I like how both of the panels, whether they're up or down, have these little decals. And I do see that in the photograph. I'm not sure what that means. Is there like a squadron color code or something? I see. So that is why there's two holes. So when you put this drop tank on, it covers up that first hole. But I assume that's more the center of gravity, the center pivot point. I just don't know really why that hole would be in there in the first place. Even if that isn't in the center, it should still work. So we've got this really tall stand from Topgun Chen. And yeah, the holes don't need to be chased out with a drill bit. Oh, this is an angled hole, so it's more like a climbing rate, whereas this is flying horizontal. That's why I prefer the climbing rate. Yeah, and also because I just want to have the drop tank on it. Yeah, that looks pretty sweet. Very cool. Alright, this doesn't need to spin so much. We're going to probably pose it back this way later. Let's compare it to some other planes. Huh, I just noticed these tires actually spin. So that's quite interesting that effort would be put in place. The rear wheel, though, it doesn't spin, so I'd be perfectly happy if this didn't spin. I think actually what it was is this color separation, if the tire's a separate piece. Every model kit company should do this as well in airplanes. I don't understand why the airplane company model kits don't do this when all like cars and trucks do, because it's just common sense, right? But whatever. All right, so the Hasegawa version I painted up in this other alternate color because I knew Topgun Chen was coming out with this at some point in time. And so Hasegawa, literally, it looks like an egg with wings attached, but the cockpit is so small. You can't really get a figure in there. Well, I don't have a figure in mine. And so, also, the wings are not unnecessarily long, in my opinion, for this. I like this. It just looks like it shouldn't fly because it's so deformed. This actually looks like it could probably fly because the wings are so big, right? So, I prefer just general deformation, equal deformation instead of this, where the wings actually look realistic, but on an egg. Alright. But Hasegawa does have other better models. This is their Mustang. It is the Pacific Theater Mustang, I think. So yeah, this is just general deformation, and they have panel gaps all over the fuselage, which that one doesn't because it's supposed to look like an egg. So I hope Hasegawa continues, but along this theme instead of that theme. Alright, so then Tiger model, is it? Yeah, Tiger model here's a Nakajima Key 84. And I really like this brand for model kits. Much better than Hasegawa. Well, at least that Hasegawa. This one's pretty good. All great panel details, but again, I think the wings might be unnecessarily wide. And these Tigers don't come with pilots. I 3D printed my own pilot there, so the Hasegawa does come with a pilot, so that is nice. Alright, so now we have 3 Japanese deformed fighter planes. And then there's another 3D designer called Ships of Cats. And this is what? The Dauntless? SPD Dauntless. These figures are quite bigger. I paid for this to be painted. Unfortunately, this person only sells through Taobao, or at least right now, when I'm recording this video. Maybe the person will change their mind and sell on eBay later. It's interesting, the magnetic propeller. But yeah, this is a great quality 3D printed airplane also. I really like the expression of this dude and the big schnoz that they have. Magnetic parts just as well. The landing gear will actually be in the up or down position. You just look up Ships of Cats and see. It's a big model though. Big wings, thick wings. It's a lot of plastic. It's very heavy. It's all solid. So essentially, for me, these 3 are fantastic. I'm not really feeling this, but Hasegawa model kits are really cheap, at least when they first came out. So I can't fault it really too much. So I decided to look up this 1-102. First, Hasegawa has an airplane kit, but this is a super ace of the war. Turns out to be this person, Tetsuzo Iwamoto. And he's one of two of the best aces of that war. As it says somewhere here, either he or another person was the number one ace. And the person's diary claims 200 aircraft this person downed. So you gotta, that's crazy. I mean, taking on 200 enemies and winning. Imagine, like, Mike Tyson was a great boxer, but I don't think he knocked out 200 people. He would knock me out with his pinky. But anyways, so no matter what side of the war you're on, I feel you have to respect the top aces of any war, really. People willing to fight for their country and do the best that they can. So, alright, something to learn there. Alright, there's some zeros taken off of the Zuikaku, which this pilot, this ace, did serve on that carrier at some point during the war. Alright, well, I gotta say, model-wise, this is another absolutely fantastically done product. Again, you can pay less and just get the raw model kit. So if you're an experienced model builder, you can make it look just as nice as this. I just don't feel like doing it. This is just fantastic how well it's done. It's really impressive. Anyways, I'll leave a link. I don't get paid for these links. I just like helping the person out. So it'll be eBay, and if it's painted, it's going to be expensive. But you have to ask yourself, how long would it take you to paint something like this? Oh, there's a little silver back here as well. If I were to make this model myself, it would take at least 10 hours, assuming it's clean. All the parts are cleaned first, which they probably are. I don't know. You might have to sand some of the parts down to get rid of a lot of those the print lines. But you got to prime it, then you got to paint it, then you got to mask it off to paint the other half of the airplane, and then you got to decal the thing, and then you got to clear coat it. So, and then that interior would take a few hours on its own, I think. Anyways, yeah, I'm happy I just bought it finished. So, we'll see ya. And the next time, hopefully I'll get another one of these Topgun Chen airplanes. Alright, take care. Bye.